Hello, everybody. My name is Christian. I'm the host of the Disruptive Chef Entrepreneur Show. And I know I say this at every episode, but today's guest is absolutely amazing. And you guys know the story. We were looking for new, innovative people to bring to you, our listeners. And we came across this person's name all the time. There was something that person calls, hey, we need a little bit more of that. And you guys are going to find out in a little bit what that is. She helps you build a better lifestyle, helps you, become more successful. What do? Do a little bit more hydration. And we need to do all of that. My bottle is right there. And you're going to meet our guest in a little bit. Hello again, I'm Christian, the host of the Disruptive Chef Entrepreneur Show, and today's guest is absolutely amazing. She does something called the Culinary Cure. I was hooked. She empowers people to be successful and reclaim their health. We need this more than ever in our industry. She helps you manage stress, get a healthier lifestyle, and increase your energy. And I think we all need a Kristen in our life. With that, Kristen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I am so happy to be here. I've got my water, and I want to encourage everybody listening to get their hydration on, because that is the most overlooked, underused tool in your wellness arsenal that has the ability to give you more energy, better sleep, improve your mood, muscle pliability, and it's a game changer, which is why I give away 14-day hydration training.
I love that. And, in the food service industry, chefs, we're really not known to take care of ourselves. And so for me, that's why I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Before we start, Ms. Kristen, give our listeners a little bit of a background. Where are you calling in from? How did this whole thing start? And what inspired you to transition from a culinary arts to wellness coaching?
I love that. Well, and they should be connected always, but they're not. And I, for years, I'm a chef. I had a catering company. I catered congressional fundraisers in Washington. I actually had a catering company when I was in college. So I've been in the food business forever. And when my mom got cancer, I really looked to food as a way to help her manage her cancer, manage what was happening to her body and her brain, and, get her habits to support her through that journey. And when I became a mother, all of a sudden you look at everything you're putting into that tiny human, and you want to make sure that you're growing the biggest, baddest, best baby possible. And so I really flipped the switch on using food to feed people, to use food to nourish people.
I love that. And I love that example of parenthood, because it's just, for me, the best example that we will do more for others than we do for ourselves. And I really love that, because I so relate to that. We have 4 kids. I never ate as healthy as I do now with having 4 kids. So talk to us a little bit, how did you get started? Why culinary? Why did you get into the culinary arts?
I think you would agree, and any of your chefs that are listening would agree, it's kind of in your DNA. You're kind of drawn to food as your creative medium. And food is everything. It's math, it's science, it's English, it's art, it's community, it's culture, it's conversation. It's everything. And when you get into food because you love it, because it's fun, it's creative, you start to see how food gives you this other connection, right? Now you're connecting with people on the most fundamental, level. You have to eat to live, but in order to live well, you really need to eat well. And so that's where, it took me.
I love that. So where did that passion for wellness come in from then?
So I'm 65, and when I first had my first child, my friends will tell you, he's 36 years old, and my friends will tell you, 36 years ago, I was telling people, we've got to buy organic apples. We've
Yeah.
got to take probiotics. We've got to eat fermented foods. We've got to get these chemicals out of our food and our homes and off our bodies. So it really came from my passion for raising healthier humans.
Mhm.
And then I turned that on myself and I'm like, well, my God, I can't be feeding my kids this way and then not taking good care of myself. And I think a lot of culinary professionals can relate to this. When you're in the food business, and I've worked in restaurants, I've had a catering company, I had a service where I had worked with high profile athletes and business people, and I catered their weekday meals so that they
Yeah.
were for performance. But in the food industry, there's a lot of booze, there's a lot of bad
Mhm.
habits, there's a lot of kind of eating all day long. There's a lot of things that don't serve you if you want to
Yeah.
stay productive, happy, active, and love the skin you're in.
I love that, and it's so true because one of the things, yeah, you always heard, a mechanic drives a car which always needs repair. A carpenter lives in a house which always needs fixing. And with chefs, we're not
Yeah.
really known to cook for ourselves like we do for our guests. And sometimes we eat on the fly, we eat standing up, we don't have full meals, we really snack as our grazes. It's not a good thing. And when we at home, we tired and we think, we tired, we actually dehydrated. Okay. And then the next thing we do, we sit in front of the fridge. And then
Yeah.
that's the way it goes. So for me, I love your message on empowering women. And our industry needs more of you guys, by the way. I think we need more women. And then also, you shared your age. You look amazing. So our listeners, which can't see you unless you log to our YouTube channel, see you look amazing. So congratulations. And for me, I love the message you have on the marketplace. I love the idea, and we want to know more about Culinary Cure, but I'm super fascinated. How did you combine culinary
Yeah.
and wellness to what you have today?
Yeah. So the Culinary Cure is my riff on food is medicine.
Hmm.
And when you think of food in its most basic form, food in its most basic form is calories. That's what
Yep.
people think of. They think food is calories and that it's calories in and calories out, and that it doesn't matter what food you're eating as long as you're getting your calories in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's really not like that. Food is nutrients. You're really buying nutrients, you're preparing nutrients, and nutrients are a chemically coded message that we send to our body that
Hmm.
signals a response. So if you want to be well, and listen, who doesn't want to be well? If you lose your health, you got nothing. You're going to spend all your time and money trying to get it back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in the culinary industry, this is hard work. This is physical work. We are really warriors in the kitchen, and we need our energy and we need longevity. So creating habits that turn food from calories, when you think of you're flipping the switch from food being a calorie to food being a nutrient, to that nutrient sending a powerful signal to the only body you ever get. You just get this one. That's it, people. So you've got to take care of it and you've got to put the right fuel in. So food is fuel. So if you're
Mhm.
putting the wrong fuel in, too much caffeine, too much alcohol, too many refined carbs, bad oils, too many calories, you're going to be putting the wrong fuel in your engine and your engine's going to break down.
I love that. I absolutely love that. So so you have this thing, Culinary Cures your riff. I love that. So how do you currently support and empowering women around that?
So women tend to be the gatekeepers for their family's wellness. And
I
if
love that.
I can help a woman adopt some better habits around her own wellness, the family benefits, the partner benefits, the kids benefit, the pets benefit. And so I decided that my message was it's for everyone, but that women tend to be the decision makers on this stuff. And so much of the information we get is a little skewed. The testing was done on men. Hormones are not taken into consideration. So women have the more complicated machine. And as a woman myself, I was like, you know what? I want to make this easy. I want
Mhm.
other women to have access to easy information that doesn't cost them a lot of money. They don't have to pay for this basic information. They can just start doing it. And guess what? When you start doing something and it changes your life, like hydration, powerful, powerful stuff. If I described the benefits of hydration and told you that this magic formula could give you more energy, better sleep, younger looking skin, pliable muscles, help you control your appetite, lower your stress, people would pay anything.
I love that. And again, you might make it sound so simple. There's so much misinformation out there around water consumption. People saying you need to drink a gallon a day. Look at what the pH Miracle is out there promoting, that you need a gallon a day and you will never get sick. And then there's other people, hey, you need to drink a certain amount of body weight. So talk to us a little bit. What is a easy step-by-step process I can implement tomorrow around hydration to see an impact in a very short period of time?
Well, first of all, I would tell everybody to go to my website, The Culinary Cure, and download the free 14-day program, because it takes 14 days to become
Mhm.
properly hydrated. And you do need a little reminder to stay on track, because if it was easy, guess what? We'd all already be doing it. Um, so, with hydration, your starting point for anybody listening is half your body weight in ounces of water. So, if you weigh 140 pounds, your starting amount of water for each day is 70 ounces of water.
Mhm.
But it's trickier than that, right?
Yep.
So you never want to drink all your water at once. So don't be that person who gets in their car at the end of the day and goes, oh my gosh, now I've got to drink my 100 ounces of water. So I'm just going to do that right now. That's not the play. The play is to sip constantly and consistently
Mhm.
throughout the day, because most of us, like 80% of people, are walking around partially dehydrated.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
affects everything. It affects your ability to make good decisions, people. Like, hello, like that person in front of you slams on the brake, you want to make a good decision. So, hydration is this superpower. You want to start with half your body weight in ounces of water. You want to sip it throughout the day. So, when
Mhm.
people say 70 ounces sounds like a lot, I ask them, can you take 7 sips an hour? And they say yes. And I go, great, do that for 10 hours.
Yep. I love that. And I love the simplicity behind that. And to our listeners, go back quick 2 minute and get to her website and download your 14-day program. You will see it's a game changer. So we have hydration done, check mark. Next thing is you talk a lot about stress management. So talk to us a little bit about stress management.
Right. Well, and it all comes back to hydration, which is
Hmm.
why I always start with hydration. Hydration's the missing step. So, when we want to manage stress, one of the first things we need to do is make sure that we have taken good care of our body. Maybe you're drinking
Hmm.
too much caffeine. Maybe your sleep's impacted. You probably do have a lot of things going on. But let's get the hydration in place, because that actually helps lower your stress level. Now,
Yep.
with stress management, it's all about creating the conditions of life to support the life you want to live. So when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do sets the tone for the day.
Yeah.
So if you wake up and the first thing you do is you fill your mind with anxiety. Now you're like, oh my God, I've got to do this, this, and this. Holy mother, I better not forget that thing, right? And you are then just locked in that like subconscious mind where your inner critic lives, where anxiety thrives, where you're feeding that negativity, and it's creating, you get more of it. You get more of
Yeah.
what you focus on. So if you focus on the negative, I guarantee you bad stuff will keep happening. So the
I,
first thing you want to do is think positive, bring positive
I love
thoughts
that.
in.
I love that. And you also talk about, if people dive into your content, you talk a lot about, that balance, whatever you want to call it, between personal and professional life, but you still need to find a way to prioritize wellness. And you always talk about hydration is where it starts. Okay, I find a way to manage my stress. You also talk about that whole idea of fasting over 50. So talk to us a little bit how I can layer my program. So, okay, I started with the water. Okay, I work on my stress. So how do you incorporate that fasting over 50?
Well, and fasting is so popular right now. It's also so misunderstood. And for women, it is a lot more complicated than it is for men. So
Mhm.
men can just have their first meal at 1 o'clock and their last meal at 6 o'clock and shred. Women, if you do that, you run the risk of creating a cortisol situation that is going to amplify your stress, aggravate your hormones, and not be the sort of magic formula you want. So, here's a couple of thoughts on how you can incorporate these things. So, you get your hydration in place because that's always step one.
Mhm.
And nobody should ever be fasting if they don't have a set in stone daily hydration practice. At the end of your 2 weeks with the training, you're at about 100 ounces of water.
Mhm.
And so that is the right amount of water for most people. Okay.
Yep.
So nobody should be shocked when they hear that 100 ounces is your goal sipped throughout the day. So you get your hydration in place. You're feeling a little less stressed because now you're sleeping better and you're waking up and you're going from your subconscious to your conscious mind and you're focusing on more positive things and you want to add in some fasting. I love to add in reverse fasting. Now, a lot of people don't like to do this because they like to sit down, have a big meal at the end of the day. But if you can reverse fast, start your day just like they do in the blue zones.
Yep.
Start your day with eating like a king, then lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper, wrapping up your last meal of the day early, maybe at 4 o'clock, five
Yep.
o'clock, and then go for a walk, do your exercise, watch your shows, sip your herbal tea. But if you make your fasting at the tail end of the day, you're going to balance your hormones when you wake up. You're going to have fuel in your tank for all the things that you've got to do today, all your work. You want to stay focused and balanced for that, not depleted and then
Mhm.
get to that point where you're just like dying to have that meal. So I do coach fasting. It's you can make it individualized for yourself, but I think it's important for women to know that traditional fasting where you don't eat until noon or 1 can be very hard on your hormones and it can spike your cortisol and you don't want that.
I love that. And for me, by the way, I can have this conversation with you all day long because I know we're focusing on this conversation on women, but you can insert chef, bar manager, restaurant doer, restaurant owner. It's all the same. And I love that, how universal your message is. And you make it sound so simple. And for me, I also want to know a little bit more about you because you're super passionate. And if you dive into your content, you always, like this, you're always 100%. So how do you stay motivated and how do you stay passionate about the message you have in the marketplace and especially how to help women reclaim their health?
Yeah, and my story, I was always, like, out there. I was always the go-to girl, like, "Go ask Kristen, she'll know," I was always involved and active, and it wasn't always like this. I mean, my
Mhm.
mom's cancer came back, my dad had Alzheimer's, we got into some financial challenges that affected my marriage, um, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, and my big world became a very small world, and it was really hard for me to even get out of bed for a couple of years. This happened over a decade.
Mhm.
So it didn't happen overnight, it happened over time. And then I got to the end of my rope and I was like, oh my gosh, the universe really cannot have intended my life to be this way. So I couldn't control all those things, but I could control what was on the end of my fork and I could
Yeah.
control the thoughts in my head. And so that's where I started. And when you've been really low and you claw your way back to a place where you're happy and joy filled and your life has ease, and you just can't wait to wake up. Instead of waking up and being like, "Oh my God, how am I going to get through this day?" I am up at 4 a.m. I'm like, what do like I this is great. My husband's out of town. I can get up at 3:30 if I want. I have so much I'm excited about. So when you've been down low and you pull yourself back up and you crack the code on what it takes to feel good every single day, you do that stuff because you're getting hooked and high on feeling freaking amazing.
I love that. And for me, you always make it sound so simple. How dare you? So talk to us a little bit. So you out there, you do speaking engagements, you have so many different things. What is your hope of what message your message conveys out there to your audience?
Well, first of all, you're never too old and it's never too late to improve your health and your wellness.
Mhm.
So, nobody should be telling themselves that it's too late, they're too far gone. You take your health back one bite and one sip at a time, and it happens over time, not overnight, right?
Yeah,
So, the same way you got where you are, you get out. And there are no quick fixes, but when you start to feel good, you are so motivated to keep feeling good. So, just start where you are. Use what you can, do use what you have and do what you can. That's a quote from Arthur Ashe,
yeah.
and I love that. I think
And
that's you've gotta get your mindset to this happy place that it is a miracle to wake up every day. Like, when you think about how amazing that is, focus on that and think of that as your gift. What are you gonna do today? How do you wanna feel? What do you want to accomplish? Maybe it's nothing. Maybe you just wanna take a walk. Just
yeah.
start there.
I love that. And so I have in my family we have somebody who is at the gym all the time. He looks amazing. He only eats organic. And people keep telling him, "Hey, listen, you lucky. You have money. You can afford shopping organic and eating that." He says, "No, no, 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 no. It's not like that. For me, I call it a six-pack tax. You pay it up front or you pay it on the tail end. I want to have a better quality of life, so I invest in that. It's really important to me." And for me, as funny as it sounds, I always love that because it's so true. Um, you know what? People don't focus on health until they don't have health, you know? And for
Right.
me, my wife and I, we eat very healthy lifestyle. And many years ago now, it was back in 2005. We actually went to a program called IAN, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, to learn more about nutrition. And for me, that it changed everything, and it changed our lifestyle, the way we lead our life today. And for me, I haven't had a cold in 8 or 9 years. And it's not because, I sleep so well in the house, because I do exactly what he is talking about. And for me, the whole fasting thing, and I want to go a little bit back around that. For me, I do intermittent fasting. But
Mhm.
the crazy thing for me is I sometimes feel I force myself to eat because, oh,
Right.
it's time to eat now. I need to eat. Talk to us a little bit. Is there a preset way to do it, or should I just listen to my body? When I'm hungry, I eat after that time.
I think one of the most important things that gets lost a lot in the information about intermittent fasting is that you need to change up your fasting times, and they shouldn't be the same every day.
Hmm.
And it's a good idea to even do a water fast 1 day a month.
Yep.
Um, So some days, and you should be having days where you're focusing on high carb foods and other days when you're focusing more on, the higher fat
Yep.
foods, higher protein foods. So your body is such a smart engine. It figures out what you're doing and then it gets used to it. So you want to keep
100%.
changing things up a little bit, and you may even wanna do it, like, during the work week, like, the week you eat one way, and then on the weekends, you change it up, and then you throw in a 24-hour water fast once a month. But the thing we love about fasting is that it creates autophagy, and so it can actually help your body shed damaged cells these zombie cells
Mhm.
that are just hanging out, using resources, creating inflammation, but not helping you in any way, just hurting
Yeah.
you. So we were never, as humans, designed to be eating food the way we eat. It would have never been like that. We would have eaten
Yeah.
seasonal. We would have eaten local. We wouldn't have had nearly as much protein available to us.
Mhm.
None of the artificial ingredients and, genetically modified foods would have been in our diet. And so we have created, so eating healthy the way humans were designed to eat is now what people think of as a diet.
Mhm. I love
And
that.
this artificial lifestyle where people are literally gorging themselves on processed and ultra processed foods with too much sugar has become what people think of as normal eating.
Mhm.
So we have to detox from those things. Fasting can be really helpful. I run a 21-day wellness reset, and that is really, people love that because I do it a couple of times a year. You give up alcohol and caffeine and sugar and refined carbs. So putting these kinds of practices into your lifestyle is really beneficial, but
Yeah.
you got to keep changing it up. There's
I
no like
love that.
formula.
Yeah. As a former chef, so what is a three-step program you would recommend any chef to follow who is knows they need to do a healthier lifestyle? So what is a few things you would recommend them or how to start?
Well, I think the easiest thing is not to tell people what to stop doing because nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah.
So I like to add things. So I would add the water. A lot of chefs are good and they're drinking out of plastic
Mhm.
things.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would say maybe get yourself a real water bottle so you can actually, yeah, glass is the best. Get away from the plastic
mhm,
and add electrolytes to your water because the electrolytes are the essential minerals and elements that help the water get into your cells where you need it and keep it from just going through your body through your sweat. They
yeah,
actually create an electromagnetic positive or negative charge that's like the name says it all, electrolytes that
yeah,
literally fire up your metabolic processes. So adding electrolytes to your water is step 1. Chewing your food. Chefs are notorious for eating on the fly, so every bite needs to be chewed 23 to 32 times. So that is going to slow you down, and no drinking liquids when you're eating because
love.
what people do is use water to wash down their food.
I absolutely love that, and this is so good. So all of our listeners, can you please wind back another minute and just listen to this again because this is super powerful. And thank you for sharing those insights with us. So before we get to our last question, um, talk to us a little bit. What are you working on your business for the next 6 months, and what are you working on, Kristen, over the next 6 months?
Hmm. This is a great question and very timely. So I have done a sharp pivot into active grandparenting.
Hmm.
I became a grandparent 2.5 years ago. Yay me! And I'm in great shape and I'm a wellness coach, and I was shocked at how freaking hard the physical aspects of grandparenting are. And I thought if I, this poster girl for being an active ager, is really feeling this, other women need this information too. So I'm creating Active Grandparenting 101. It
Love.
is a course that I have priced for everyone,
Hmm.
that has 5 components. The first component is how to really communicate with your kids better, because guess what? You already had your turn parenting. You're a grandparent now. You do what your kids say. Um, so, how to communicate so you can let them know you want to be helpful and what those high value, helpful activities are for today's parents, because they've got all the information and wisdom they need on their phones. They don't need to hear it from you. So, that's number 1. Number 2, I help you improve your health by getting hydrated. And we
Hmm.
talk about how hydration is this first step to creating greater wellness, because you're getting up and down off the floor and you got to have muscle pliability. And if you're dehydrated, guess what? Your muscles are like beef jerky, not like
Mhm.
tenderloin. So you got to get hydrated. Then we talk about sleep, the importance of sleep. And if you haven't gotten it right yet, now's the time to get good sleep habits. And then I teach active grandparents the specific mobility, stability, flexibility, and strength moves for the muscles they're going to be using the most when they're grandparenting, active grandparenting.
Mhm.
And last, I have a cookbook for active grandparents that's
I
got
love that.
recipes that are easy, and they satisfy picky eaters of every age.
So, and what are you working on, Kristen, for the next 6 months?
Well, I'm going to Italy twice to do
Oh,
some eating and get some inspiration for my favorite cuisine, because I want to incorporate more of that into my next iteration of
that's awesome.
the active grandparenting cookbook.
Very cool. And if you would love to, please go just a little up. My beautiful country of Austria, you're going to see we do things much better than the Italians do. Um, so, with that, if our listeners want to find out more about what you do, where can they learn more about you and what you're currently up to?
theculinarycure.com. You can go there. You can get my free 14-day hydration program. And that's really your starting point. And it's just so
Mhm.
much great information. You can see my recipes, you can read my blog posts, and you can learn more about Active Grandparenting 101. And my Instagram is bumping. So I've got a lot of really great tips and recipes, and I show you how to do it right on Instagram at Kristen
That is
Coffield.
awesome. I really appreciate it. That was amazing. And for our listeners, we will have all the information in the show notes. So, with that, Miss Kristen, are you up for playing rapid fire question, food service
I
edition?
am. I'm a little nervous, but
You
yes.
should be. You should be. People crying, people walking off the set. It's a mess. No, it's really fun. So my team puts together 25 questions every week. You have the brand new set, which we just gotten together. So with that, let's start rapid fire questions, food service edition. And the way it works is we have 25 questions. You give me a number between 1 and 25. I read you the questions and I have you respond to that. So with that, let's get started.
All right. I'm
The
going
number
with
between what
15.
15 is an amazing number. What is the most ridiculous kitchen tool you have ever seen?
Oh, well, there are so many, but I think the air fryer is ugly AF, and it sits on the kitchen counter, and we shouldn't be
Oh,
eating food cooked at that high a temperature anyway, because
there-
it creates
there's
acrylamides and they are bad for us.
there's a whole movement to do more of that. So you just made a lot of people very mad. Okay, number between 1 and 25.
25.
25. If you could eat a food hybrid, what would it be and why?
Oh, it would be a pizza noli, a combination of a pizza and a cannoli.
I love that. All the cannoli lovers are really mad at you right now. Um, number between 1 and 25. That was awesome.
5. 5.
5. Oh, what is a kitchen gadget which is way overrated?
Mm. Oh, that's a hard one, because I'm a kitchen gadget purist. I only have, like, a Cuisinart and a KitchenAid, and there's so many things. Oh, the juicer. It's just the juicer.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's the
Uh,
juicer. It's so big, and then there's so much mess, and then you throw away all the fiber, and you need the fiber for your gut microbiome. So get rid of your juicer and eat the whole foods.
that's why if you go on Facebook Marketplace, all of the juices are like new because nobody uses them.
Nobody wants to clean them.
Give me a number between 1 and 25.
1.
Number 1. Ooh, what is your favorite snack food you eat secretly in a walk-in?
Crispy pork rinds.
That is awesome. That's a very good one, by the way. Last question.
High
Give me
protein, high protein. They're so yummy.
Number between 1 and 25.
11.
Oh, if you could be a kitchen gadget, what would you be and why?
Well, I would be the kitchen aide. No, I would be a Cuisinart because the Cuisinart is the Windex of the kitchen tools, the kitchen gadgets. It does everything. It is the best one is the first one I ever got
Mhm.
35 years ago. I still have it, and I love it.
That's awesome.
I would be a Cuisinart.
Thank you. And we really appreciate it. And that completes Rapid Fire Question Food Service Edition. That was awesome. I love my Cuisinart, and I actually just got myself a Thermomix, which is a Cuisinart on steroids. I love that sucker. And what it actually does, it heats things. So I can make a broth and heat it in the blender to whatever temperature you want. It lets you do it makes you cook fish, everything else. It makes sauces, stocks, tips. It makes ice cream. So we're gonna make plant-based ice cream this weekend. So I'm really excited about that. It's called a Thermomix. If you ever have the chance, you need to check it out. So with that, I want to say thanks for being here. And thanks for the gift of your time. That was absolutely amazing. I love everything you do. I love the idea of the Culinary Cure. It's absolutely amazing. Your message is so needed in the marketplace, and especially for chefs. Um, we don't do a good job taking care of ourselves, and we need somebody who takes care of the people which provide care. And you are it. So, with that, thank you for being here today. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners before we sign off today?
Yeah, I just love to always say, "Eat well, be well," and
Mhm.
let food be thy medicine, and stay hydrated.
I absolutely love that. So, with that, we need to wrap this up. So, to our listeners, if you want to have additional content and behind the scenes glimpses and updates on some upcoming episodes, join our private community, which is disruptivechef.com, and get yourself a front row seat. So, with that, until next time, to remember to disrupt your kitchen, fire up your career, stay hungry for change. My name is Christian, and I'm the host of the Disruptive Chef Entrepreneur Show. We are signing off. So that means Miss Kristen and I are out of here. So with that, be the change, be the challenge, and be the chef who sets the world on fire. Miss Kristen, that was amazing. You need to promise us to do a 2.0.
I
And
will.
until our next episode, to our listeners, go out there and stay disruptive, everybody. Thanks for being here.